We are back with Paul from the developer From Nothing Software, and we're taking a look at Tactics 5 Obsidian Brigade. Paul, what can you tell me about this game? What sort of game is it?
So it's kind of a homage to Final Fantasy Tactics, Tactics Ogre, Shining Force, the 90s tactical RPGs. 3D, 100% 3D, but we're trying to convert it to look like the pixel art from back then. You play by mostly combat. Shops you'll come by, or sometimes you get some decisions, but usually it's where you go on the world map that will decide the rest of the game and how you fare in the battles. We have roughly 12, 13 classes you can be. Different classes have different proficiencies, different skills. Be a spearman or an archer, and then there's multi-classing. So multi-classing, anything you learn in any of the classes, you can put on when you're on a different class.
What kind of skills are you going to be able to select from?
So proficiencies is a big one. If you're a fighter, you may get to wielding 2 weapons at once, or a 2-handed weapon. Counterattacks. If you go to archer, they have many powers. They can shoot 2 arrows at once, or have an aimed shot, which will give it higher armor penetration.
So I'm a complete coward when it comes to these games. I can just be an archer the entire way through and still have success?
There's ways to augment the archer. So I would still multi-class. I think about halfway through the game, you're going to have to multi-class. You'll run out of things to get with your class if you don't.
So now we're taking a look at the Overworld in Tactics 5. What can you tell me about the story here?
Down here, you kind of start in Lauren. There's a war going on between Lauren and Pike. I've made my way. These are kind of a tutorial-esque in the prologue areas. I just got to like a main plot point, and I had the option of going through the mountain isthmus, or the caves underneath the mountain isthmus, or the seaside tavern, supposedly, to get across with a ship.
I just say the map looks gigantic. How long is this game going to be?
I'd predict around 15, 16 hours. It takes me 12, but I know how to do everything. Much to do, much replayability too, I suppose. The green is random battles, the blue is towns, the red is undiscovered, and I don't see any, but there's yellow for optional.
I see there's a date on the upper right. Are we going to be going through a passage of time as the story progresses?
Yes, every dot you move is a day, and you start at year 300 and January 1st. So I think every dot I've moved has gotten me to February 6th. I think this is 7 hours, 15 minutes in. Without spoiling too much, Durin is in charge of the Obsidian Brigade, and he's kind of on the run right now, so he's going to try to head to a place called the Observatory, which is up here in Murdia. There is a main road, which kind of is blocked off over here, which would lead to Murdia, but they're in a rush and they're hunted, so they're going to head over to Murdia in one of 3 of these paths. So
we really just need to address the visuals because they look so retro but futuristic. It almost looks like the pixels are clashing with one another, but it's not even pixels. How did you come up with this look?
So we basically would stare at a Super Nintendo picture, or did a lot of research into pixel art, how they're doing their palettes, and it's just so much, it's easier to code a 3D animation than it is to get someone to make a ton of sprites. Well, anyway, in that research, about 8 months' time, we put into a post effect, and our custom shaders, we make an outline of 1 pixel around basically the depth to get the outline. We are using a palette, everything except for maybe particles, but the palette, we have, say, 50 colors. Each of those have a dark, medium, and light, and we have our in-house lighting engine that will just do one of those 3 shades. And then we dither between them if we have more shades.
Well, it really does look fantastic. And we were talking before, and you mentioned that you were only one of 3 people working on this game?
Yeah, for the most part. We have a story writer and myself designed a lot of the combat or the story itself. And then we have 1 person doing 3D modeling and 1 person doing the audio score.
So I noticed that the name of the game is Tactics 5. Where's Tactics 1 through 4?
I made 4 other tactical combat systems. and none of them really amounted to much. We did experiment with a lot of things. I learned a lot from them, but this fifth one, stuck. So it was a code name number, but we're keeping it.
Now, this genre's been around for a really long time for people like me who've played the Shining Force series or the Disgaea series, but there's a lot of players out there that maybe not as experienced with tactical turn-based RPGs. What can you say? What makes the genre so much fun and so enduring that you want to make one?
So I feel there's permadeath is a big part of it. Now, people hate permadeath. Some people hate permadeath, but it's you get so invested in your troops. Like, some of them are generic, so you'd think, oh, they're not very personable, but you end up, you know, everything about them. You do your turns, one at a time. There's not a whole lot of. You feel like you're making them do what they're doing, and you get invested in them, and then you level them up, and you skill base them a certain way, and there's no two that are exactly the same. And so when you lose them, or if you win the game with them, I think that's what I feel about it.
So Tactics 5, when's it coming out, and what can we play this on?
Tactics 5 Obsidian Brigade is coming out on, we don't have a date, but it's Q3 of this year.
Q3, so very soon.
Yep, and we're coming out on Nintendo Switch, Sony PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Steam, Linux, Mac, and PC.
Well, thank you so much, Paul. The game is Tactics 5. Can't wait to play it. Okay.